Breaking news, NBA superstar Matisse Thybulle signs with the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm sorry. What do you want me to do? It's the offseason. There's nothing to talk about. Everybody's waiting on LeBron. I'm bringing you what I can. You got to work with me. Now, imagine you Luka Dončić and you just coming off 40 minutes in a game, creating almost every offense, right? Every offense. You score, you rebound, you make every difficult read. Then you have to come back down on the other side of the court and guard Shea, guard Brunson, guard Murray, guard Jalen Williams, guard John Morant, right? That sounds exhausting. It does. For years, championship teams have understood one thing, and that your stars can't do everything. And that is why it is being reported that the Lakers have signed Matisse Thybulle, and he may end up being one of the smartest and underrated moves of the offseason. Now, he agreed to a one-year deal, giving the Lakers one of the NBA's premier perimeter defenders at a very low cost. That's important because while everyone is focusing on scoring, championships are usually won by the players willing to do everything else. So, let's start with the obvious. The Lakers needed perimeter scoring, like bad. Last season, they had offensive power. They had enough creators. They had enough shooters. But when it came time to guard elite guards and wings, they was getting cooked. I mean, Shea was cooking. Jamal Murray, when Jamal Murray looks at the Lakers, if we had an example of what Kyrie would look like in the 70s, that's if we could ever go back and see prime Wilt Chamberlain, look at Jamal Murray versus the Lakers. There's no better player in NBA history than Jamal Murray against the Lakers. And that's why Thybulle changes everything, right? He's one of those rare defenders who actually enjoys guarding the opposing team's best player, right? Most defenders react, Thybulle attacks, right? He jumps the passing lanes. He anticipates the dribble moves. He creates the turnovers without gambling recklessly, right? And Marcus Smart was a great. He's the defensive player of the year, but he did gamble. He loved to. He was in them casinos when it came to them steals, right? Now, Thybulle has earned 2 all-defensive second-team selections during his career because of his disruptive style. Ironically, the biggest winner may not even be Thybulle, probably Luka. Every possession Thybulle spends chasing Steph Curry, chasing Shea, chasing Anthony Edwards, chasing Devin Booker is one less possession Luka has to expend unnecessary energy, right? And that's huge. Defense isn't just about stopping points. It's about managing energy. The less Luka has to defend elite scorers, right? The fresher he stays offensively. That means more energy late in the games, better decision making late in the games, more efficient scoring late in the games. The Lakers are essentially buying Luka extra offensive possessions simply by allowing someone else to handle the hardest defensive assignments. And I know Luka, I don't want to make it seem like Luka was guarding the best player. I'm just saying, so if you got a team like the Spurs and you have De'Aaron Fox, Castle, Vassell, off the bench, Johnson off the bench. So instead of Luka doesn't guard the 1, right? So he might guard the 2, 3, best scorers on the team. Now you got Thybulle. Now instead of guarding the 2, 3 best offensive players, he's probably guarding 3, 4 best offensive players, right? And all that adds up in the end. What makes Thybulle different from most defenders is that he doesn't simply stay in front of people, right? He creates panic. He's constantly reaching into passing lanes, reaching into their dribbles, rotating from the weak side, timing strips perfectly, right? Closing out at an unbelievable speed. Some defenders lower your shooting percentage. Thybulle lowers your confidence. Ball handlers start second-guessing simple passes. They hesitate. They pick up the dribble early. And that's exactly what great defensive players do. They force offenses out of rhythm. And we know the stigma he had back in Philly leave him open, right? He's improved his shooting. What many fans don't realize, the offensive version of Thybulle isn't the same player people remember from Philly, right? Back then, completely ignore him. They did him like Ben Simmons. Like, we're not even looking your direction. Do him like Draymond Green currently. Shout out my dog in the back. That allowed defenses to crowd the stars, right? But over the last 2 seasons in Portland, his three-point shooting improved dramatically, hovering around 40% on respectable volume, right? 40% on like 3 attempts a game. I mean, if he does that with the Lakers, that's all you need. Because now defenses actually have to think, maybe he isn't taking 8 threes a night, but if he's open, if you can't leave him open, right? You can't completely abandon him. And then not every player needs the ball. Some players become valuable precisely because they don't need the ball. And Thybulle doesn't care about taking 20 shots. He doesn't need isolation possessions. Matter of fact, if JJ Redick was to draw up an isolation play for one Matisse Thybulle, that will be his last day as a head coach in the NBA. I promise you. Thybulle doesn't need the post touches. He cuts, runs the floor, sets screen, defends, hits open shots. Those players become invaluable next to ball-dominant superstars. And Lakers are going to be ball-dominant because ain't nobody else touching that ball except for Luka Dončić and Austin Reeves. So think about the best role players in recent championship history, right? Alex Caruso, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Bruce Brown, Aaron Gordon, Derek White. None of them needed 30 points, right? They just made the winning plays. Thybulle fits that exact type of player perfectly. And before this signing, the Lakers had defenders, right? Now they have an identity. Imagine this closing lineup, right? Thybulle locking up Shea, Walker Kessler protecting the rim, Quentin Grimes applying pressure, 10 toes down, on him, sick him. The Lakers suddenly have answers at multiple levels of the defense after an offseason focused on adding role players and size. When your perimeter defender funnels drivers towards an elite rim protector, defenses become exponentially harder to score against. And that creates turnovers, fast breaks, easy transition points. And those are the easiest points to score in the NBA, right? And now let's be fair, there are concerns. Thybulle has dealt with injuries over the past 2 seasons, and availability matters. Availability is the best ability, right? And while his shooting has improved, teams may still occasionally help off him depending on the matchup, depending on who else is in the game as well. He's also never gonna create the offense, right? He's not gonna be handling the ball whatsoever. So you're always gonna need a Luka in the game. You always gonna need an Austin Reeves next to him, right? But here's the thing: they don't need him to be also. They already have the creators, like I said. They signed him to defend. Anything he gives offensively is a plus. And so sometimes the smartest offseason moves aren't the biggest headlines. Sometimes they're the moves that quietly solve your biggest weakness. Matisse Thybulle won't average 20 points. He won't make the All-Star team. He probably won't even sell 25 jerseys for the year. But he might save Luka Dončić enough energy to dominate the fourth quarters. He might force the turnover that changes a playoff game. He might shut down an opposing superstar in a 7-game series. Those are the plays that don't always show up in the highlight reels, but they win championships. And that's why this move has the potential to be one of the most impactful value signings of the entire NBA season. So, you tell me, do you think Matisse Thybulle is exactly what the Lakers needed? Or do they still need another major move before they can seriously contend for a championship? Let me know in the comments, please.